politics. Here, just for you. And I'm Attorney Roy Miller.
I'm Linda.
And I'm Stacy Jenkins.
Whatever's hot. Whatever's hot. Do we have anything hot?
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah.
Well, I can see you ladies, or I can feel the heat that you just can't wait to let it out. Tell somebody some stuff.
Yeah, for joining us.
Yeah, hey, we are the team, but we try to break down what's going on, the issues, and discuss it. We research, and we talk about it, and we try to give you an educated opinion. What thing we want to talk about today?
We're going to be talking about our business.
Okay.
Our business.
Family business.
Family
right.
business. Black community?
Village business.
That's it. That's it.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
we can use
we
that.
want people to get back to thinking
Yeah,
that it does take a village to raise a child.
it does.
We need this. We need this.
What is bringing this on? Like,
We're in a
what's
state
your
of
concern?
emergency as the Black community. We are really in a state of emergency with the daily, almost hour by the hour, of crime reports that have came in over the news. You see it in your social media. It's killings, it's muggings, it's domestic violence, carjackings. Oh my goodness.
well, politicians and black elected officials say don't use that word black on black crime.
Well, you know, it's like that old movies that was out for a while. Some people just can't handle the truth.
They can't handle the truth.
Because we have parents that don't believe that their kids are doing what they're doing.
That's right. Or some just don't even care.
That's right.
As the gentleman who unfortunately lost his life in North Philadelphia at 73 years old, he was recently murdered by a group of siblings, young black children.
Was he black?
He was black.
Yes, he was black.
And he was well respected in his family and in his community. And they killed him by bludgeoning him to death at 2 a.m. in the morning. Bludgeoning him with a street comb. A street comb. And you know how heavy those things are. And so they're reporting that two of the young children that are part of the crime, they're still wanted for his murder. But the youngest of the group that helped to kill the 73-year-old man was 10 years old.
10 years old.
You know, that is so sad. Yeah, so Jack Lambert Jr., the victim, a black man, and his relatives say that he walked that same route for 60, 70 years.
Wow.
And since he was a little boy, and nothing ever happened. And children.
Yes.
So, this is not unique. We know that young people, especially black kids, are murdering. When I first went into law, and I went to work in a juvenile, and I did work in juvenile law, there were no murders.
Wow.
Now, there was stuff like getting fighting at school, maybe somebody pulled a knife or something like that, but you didn't have anybody killing anybody. Nobody wanted to kill anyone. Something has happened.
You know, I hold the parents responsible.
Absolutely.
2 o'clock in the morning.
The youngest was 10 years old.
I mean, where is the parent? Where's the parent?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Well, they're always working.
How?
Every time they're working.
Oh yeah, they always
have that excuse. Oh, I'm so tired.
Right.
Look, we are parents.
if
There's no in the world my son would be where and I didn't know where he was at 10 o'clock at night.
That's right.
He's 10 years old, 11 years old, 12
That's
years
right.
old. Parents, I say this, you're some sorry parents if you let your children be out and you don't know where they are. Don't give me any excuses. That is just trifling.
Trifling.
There's no excuse.
No,
There's no excuse.
They don't have an excuse.
Little kids depend on us to be the leaders.
That's right.
They are not the leaders. We're supposed to be the leaders to set an example and look out for them. To look out for their safety.
Right.
And you have too many children just roaming the streets. I remember when I was living in Atlanta, it would be grown up time at night, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in underground Atlanta.
Right.
And you see all these little children.
That's
And you say,
terrible.
how in the world did these children get away from their parents?
You can't help but wonder where it's the parent. That's my biggest
Right.
question right there. Parents, they've got to be accountable for the actions of their kids, especially at 10 years old. There's no excuse.
And but they're gonna say, oh well, the government and the people need to put more programs together for my kids to have something to do.
At 2 o'clock in the morning.
And let me ask you this: Can you be a
child
good
should be
parent? Can you be? I know that people like to have fun, and nothing wrong with that. But if you got little children, can you be a parent and twerk on Facebook and all the internet?
No, you can't.
That's not a good example.
That's not a good
Terrible.
example at
There's
all.
no way you can correct your child if you're doing that.
I mean, how you come to a PTA meeting when all the other parents of children that your son or daughter go to school with have seen you pretty much,
Yeah.
in a bad light, in a bad light.
Right.
How do you show up at PTA meetings and then talking about
Oh, they
morals,
they showing
ethics?
up. They show up to PTA
Well, that's a
meetings.
good now. See, but you have to sacrifice.
That's right.
You do.
You have to sacrifice and the behavior. Now, I'm not just talking about ladies, but
absolutely
but
not.
men as well.
Yeah.
We have to set the
we said
example.
Parents,
That's
it takes
right.
two.
We said this is village business, so
That's
that
right.
includes the
That's
father
right.
and the mother.
The grandparents
The
too.
grandparents.
Aunts and uncles.
Absolutely.
If the
And trusted
dad-
people
yeah.
in the community.
If
Right.
the dad is the home run hitter, the son want to be a home run hitter.
Oh yes.
We can leave an impression, and so we got to do better.
What do you think should be done to the mother or the father or both
I tell you one thing that will
in
get
this
there.
particular situation?
Oh, and this crime that is happening.
And killing the 73-year-old man.
73-year-old. I do believe that charges should be brought against the mother.
And
the father.
I believe that too.
Whoever is the guardian. The only thing I will say is this. Now, if the guardian is the grandparents, I would be a little bit more understanding if the guardians are the grandparents and not the children's immediate parents, because that's technically not their responsibility. They're stepping in to fill that role. But if the parents are the primary caretakers of those children, those parents need to be held accountable.
They do.
As well. While your children on one side locked up, you need to be on the other side.
Well, so you're saying that a 10
You ain't got to worry about daycare now.
how long should a 10-year-old be in jail?
With
prison.
this type of crime,
It
Do you
should
feel?
be at 10 years old. It should be some type of educational program. For them. It should be. It shouldn't. I think I really feel like we have to go back to basics by making our kids go to church so they can.
you hit that right there. I was gonna mention
back
that.
connected to their conscience. Get back connected to their heart. A kid can kill a kid and don't think anything of it. There's no compassion there anymore. There's no respect for life or anything. So we got to get our kids back in the church to get that emotional, spiritual connection back with God.
Let me ask another
Because
question.
then
Can I answer that question?
You can't
all
kill
right.
anybody. Because in church, thou shalt not kill.
Right.
And that's one of the things that the
Yeah.
preacher talks on. So that opens that conscience up.
And I want to answer that too. What did I think that the 10-year-old needs? I think the 10-year-old needs to be locked up for at least 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, he does need to lose his freedom to understand.
Yes.
Because what he did was not something.
Absolutely.
He had to know. I know he was following his brothers or whatever, but you have to know that's not right.
Because I
You
can't.
have to know. If somebody was beating on his mother like that.
Right.
Well, if a child does not have love in his heart, how is it that love didn't get there? Who's most responsible?
I'm not going to say, from what I saw in that video, from what I observed, and I recommend that everyone looks up this story because it's a very sad story.
It is.
And our condolences to
Jack Lambert Jr.
Jack Lambert's family.
That's right.
For their loss, because that is awful.
It
you
is.
know?
It is.
And to know that he was a pillar in the community, and we don't have but so many pillars left in our
That's right.
community. And it's not only Jack Lambert's death, but he's now one of many older black people in the community that their lives are being brutally taken from them from our young black children.
Well, there are some that will fight you for kicking at their dog. They take the value even of an animal over the life of a person, and almost seem like they could just kill a person just faster than they would a stray dog, which you shouldn't kill. But it seems like if you can have compassion for a dog, surely you can have compassion for a person. And so we have a lot of cold-hearted young people.
And we know there's mental health issues right there. You know, when you are completely blank, when you have no conscience, and you can actually take someone's life and think nothing of it. That is definitely a mental health issue. But that's a mental health issue that now we as a society, we're going to have to start demanding that our district attorneys and our judges start to become more, and I hate to say this, but we need to make sure that they become more harsh on their judgments. Because they're too lenient.
But you know, I know people will say, well, that's kind of brutal. But you know, when you speak in terms of an eye for an eye.
Absolutely.
And if that was practiced, you know, like.
And some countries still do that to this day.
If you're going to cut my hand off.
Right.
Then you have to look out and.
Your
hand.
Well, you know, if you have a parrot and you teach him to cuss, who's really the most responsible? You or the parrot when he cuss somebody?
But still, when he curse somebody, he still has to be accountable. I'm saying that the adult is accountable. No, the adult has to be made accountable as well as the parrot. The parrot that you're talking in terms about. But see, with the parrot, you just tell him you're going to throw him to the cat.
Well, see, all right now, you see, no violence towards parrots.
You just tell him, you know what we talked about yesterday?
Oh, no, I won't have that, not to the parrot.
We'll just throw you to the
protect
cat.
the parrot.
But you're going to have some of our black leaders in the community. They're going to say, well, we don't want it to be a pipeline to prison. And there's already been so many historical disadvantages in our community. And that's the reason why these children are acting the way they're acting.
But we're not going to discipline each other, in other words. We're going to say what? Just as your business as usual?
We're just going to use this as an excuse to allow our children to continue on with the inappropriate behavior that they have been displaying over this past year and a half, as if there's no consequences to it.
See, that's the whole key. I agree with you. There has to be some consequences for things that you do.
Absolutely.
You have to be responsible for the choices that you make. This is all part of growing into adulthood and making wise choices. I mean, if you tap them on the head and say, now don't you go do that again, and the next night they go back out and do it again.
Yeah.
If they don't, like those, I keep going back to those little kids. But we've got to do something.
Yeah.
And it has to be, the punishment has to be that they would think twice before doing it again.
And it sends a message to other children.
This is what is going to happen to you.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you, a cure for what hurts. So what is some remedy early on that can keep a child from even being in that position of getting in trouble, of committing a
Education
crime?
and workshop for parents.
I
Teaching
totally
parents
agree.
to be parents.
I totally agree.
And making parents more responsible for the choices that they make
How
when
do
it
you
comes to raising the kids.
How do you make parents then attend like courses and classes?
You hit them with the
Oh,
pocket.
That's right. There's so many ways. You lose your license if you don't show up to this class. You
Absolutely.
know how important this class is. You lose your license.
That's right. That's a privilege being taken away from you.
Or when your time to get your money from your unit tax,
That's
your refund.
okay.
We're gonna take that.
We're gonna take that. When you're getting $3,000 and $4,000 per child, you don't
they'll
get that.
be there. They'll be there. They'll show up to whatever class you say.
They will graduate summa cum laude.
They sure will. seriously, we have got to put things in place that will make them, that will motivate them, whether it's, taking privileges from them.
That's right.
Because kids didn't ask to come into this world. And you're the parent. So you've got to be made responsible and accountable for raising those kids.
And all three of us are not talking as hearsay. We all three of us have adult children.
Oh yeah.
That now are independent young adults.
And grown up,
have their own responsibilities now.
And it was, let me first say that our kids were not perfect kids.
Oh, absolutely.
They challenged us.
Yes.
That's right.
They challenged their boundaries.
And they were children.
They were children.
Yeah.
But fortunately, they was tough.
Yeah.
But we were tougher.
We were tougher. And you can survive it. You can make it.
That's right.
You can, I hate when, I understand, especially being a single mother and being a black single mother, it is hard. It is very hard in this society. But you can make it. But you have to have a mindset that you want to see yourself do better and you want to see your children do better.
That's right.
Because if you don't have you have to create an outlook for your life and for your children's life. A lot of these young mothers, they don't see past tomorrow.
That's right.
So
they just live for today.
A lady go to the doctor and she said, "Well, doctor, you're my son. He's given a report. He runs fast. He's got good arms, good muscles. He can laugh. He speak really good. But he was born without a heart." And she can't understand why is he so cold? Because there are some kids and there are some mothers that I've known that were not running the streets or anything, but it couldn't understand why would their son. I mean, there have been even two-parent homes. Parents, great examples, and couldn't understand how could their child be born without a heart. Is it possible for a child to be born without a heart?
Linda, you want to answer?
I'm searching for the right words because I still think that you can set an example. I still think that parents didn't have a problem with taking the belt to your tail. Didn't have a problem with that. But now it's a whole different situation. But I think kids should do what their parents tell them to do until they're old enough to understand. A lot of kids say, "Well, why? Well, why should I do this? Why?" They don't understand why. The thing is, I'm your mother. I am the adult. I tell you what to do, and until you get grown and move out on your own, then you have to follow the rules in this household, and no ands, ifs, and buts about it. That's what you call starting out with respect. You don't have to like what I tell you to do, but since I'm earning the money and taking care of you, that's right, then you're going to have to respect the rules in the household.
Let me bring this up. A lot of blacks and whites wanted integration. We needed integration because God said we must learn how to live together. But unfortunately, with integration, a lot of places in black and white homes where you used to walk in and you knew that God was there because you saw something on the wall.
There was always a picture
of Christ or a cross or a Bible or something.
Or the Last Supper.
Yeah, right. You knew that it was something that they believed in God. But after, now you just don't see that. You don't know what a person believed, and if you're just looking around when you're walking their house, it's so unfortunate because I think that when you, and in this case, Black America find ourselves lost, we should trace ourselves back to the point most familiar. And to me, that point was integration. Before integration, there was a lot of unity, there was a lot of love, and kids, we walked. I walked a long ways to go to school. There was love for the teacher. We bought the teacher presents. At the last day of school, we had tears in our eyes, but we hated it. Even though we were going to be back at the same school, "Oh, Miss Thomas, we were going to sure miss you," and it was a lot of love between teacher, student. If you got some licks and I got some licks,
right?
But I'm gonna plead not guilty. But I got some licks. But the thing about it was, I felt worse because the teacher believed in me and I did something bad that I knew I deserved some licks.
That's right.
And it was like, will you forgive me type? But something that existed then, prayer was taken out of school for one.
Oh, it started with that. I
It
saw
sure
that.
did. It sure did. That's the first start of things.
But what I do see, and it even when you see the comparison of the church, the black church, and the Nation of Islam. Even though I know that the Nation of Islam is probably also experiencing a decline in membership, but especially the black church has seen a major decline in membership with the family. And I remember my dad used to be in a pastor. He used to always say that, you know, the family is the nucleus of the church.
It is.
And when the family is the nucleus of the church, they become the nucleus of the community. And I think that internet and technology has become so sacred now to the black community. Even I see with mothers when they go grocery shopping, the whole time they're on their phone. The kids are tearing up the store, but they're on their phone. They're talking live. They're on their Facebook. They're on their IG. It's like it has become so sacred. It has replaced God. It has replaced their parenting abilities. It has replaced order, even in their own lives. You got some people, they can't even move to the next level in their life because they're so concerned about minding other people's business on their social media. You know, they're like a slave to their phone. And it has really, to tell you the truth, the cell phone has been more of a detriment than crack cocaine in the black community.
I have known several times even leading to death, murder, and stuff like that, where somebody snatched the other person's cell phone, see what they had on there, or look at their Facebook messages or something. I've seen where people, they end up in court fighting. I've seen even a murder.
Yes.
And
you know, that's the reason why I created that movie, How to Die Young in Middle Georgia. It was because my daughter and I, she was leaving Sandglow Fashions, Mrs. Gloria's business on for Rocky Creek Road. She was getting her prom dress alterated for the last time. And we had witnessed two young men shooting at each other across from the Rocky Creek food store off of Rocky Creek Road. And we saw one, it was over a cell phone. And one of the guys fell to his death behind an SUV because it was over a cell phone. And so my daughter saw that, I saw that, and she actually saw him first fall to his death.
Wow.
And those bullets were going everywhere. And that's what motivated me to create that movie, How to Die Young in Middle Georgia. And so the cell phone has really been detrimental to the black community. And I don't know, how do we get out of this?
Well, you know, and we see a lot of murders, and we set a record in Bill County for murders, and it was mostly all black.
Yes, it was.
And we are on pace to beat that record this year. But I don't see the tears from the community. Why is that?
It's just not there.
It's not. Because, and essentially we're all guilty of it, or we're not aware of it.
Are we too afraid to speak up?
That's another factor.
You probably get cursed out or beat down if you tell a young mother, you need to get off the phone and pay attention to your child.
Right.
Your child is all over on the other end destroying these people merchandise.
Right.
Before she called the child, she would probably give you a few
Curse you
choice
out.
words.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the truth. But I know in the school system, especially because teachers
it's
trying to
awful in the
teach
school
and
system.
trying to make kids behave. They have to be so careful. Almost they have to be the policeman without a gun.
Absolutely.
Hoping that they can talk a child into doing right, which,
And the
to be honest, that
psychologist-
won't work on all kids. Maybe on some, but some, you know, I'm a believer that there are some kids you can shake a switch at and there's something you got to use it on.
You know, a parent sometimes is a volunteer, sit in the classroom and volunteer.
I used to be that type of parent. Yep.
Yeah.
I substitute teach now. I haven't since the pandemic, but I'm going to go back to it. But that, I feel so bad for teachers because teachers come there already earning, really they're hardly earning a decent living.
That's true. That's
And
so
then
true.
when they come there, our community, it's like we're not creating a better environment for them to come into and educate our children. We send our kids to school with these phones.
Yeah, and they're
We
bad,
don't
and they're
put no boundaries.
bad kids. to school.
Yeah, absolutely. They take these phones out in the classroom. The teacher can't teach. They're sharing stuff on social media. They want to use excuses. Oh, I'm doing my classwork on my phone. You know, you got to help your children get help. Because if not, but it all stems to, like you said, a lot of it stems from the parents,
It does.
the family.
Well, I know a situation where a guy, a military guy, he was he was over 50 years old, and he had gone to get his, to be his teacher, and it must have been his first week teaching. You know, a lot of kids they're smart.
Yeah.
This one boy disrespected him, and the boy, until the boy raised his hand, and he caught that boy arm.
Right.
And the boy said, "You put your hands on me, I'm finna report you." He lost his job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he lost his job.
I blame administration for that.
He's a good father, raised children, served in the military.
Right.
But he can't even try to teach a young man how to behave. And parents that like pure fools running up to the school, knowing that their kids are bad.
That's what I'm saying.
And so many times, because you didn't let that teacher, most people don't want to hurt your children. Most teachers, I'm an educator.
Right.
We all have worked in education.
That's right. That's right.
Most educators do not want to hurt your children.
They love
They want to
most
see,
people.
they want to see them do good. But parents will run up there if their child say, a teacher said this to them, a teacher almost tripped them up. Parents, I don't know what to say. You'd rather see them go to jail because that's what's going to happen. The moment they get out of school, a different ball game. Let them do the same thing they did to a teacher and see where they end up, or to a policeman.
And the parents, they're the ones that's crying.
Yeah,
my boy's a good boy.
Yeah.
let them go to the YDC. The rules change.
That's right.
All of that.
You got to play by the YDC rules.
You got to play by the rules, and because parents know that nobody want to hurt their children, we try to help. There are more parents that are fools than teachers. Let me put it like that. I think a child stands to be harmed from the parent way more than by teachers. So we've got to trust the education system. We try to make sure that we get people that love being teachers and love students, and not just people are there because they have a degree.
No, absolutely not. To have a love to teach our children.
Yeah.
Because that used to be one of the best moments in my life. I went to Martin Luther King Junior Elementary School in Wyandotte, New York. We even had an alma mater song, Old King School. And I remember having good black teachers that took pride in their classes, and they made sure that you had some lunch, or if you did wrong, they may take that ruler out and hit your hand, but it was done out of love.
That's right.
Now you still have teachers that want to do that. But like you said, we have to have parents that work along with the teachers so that these children can get everything that they need to get, and they can be successful and not become a statistic. Because that's what these children are growing up to become, statistics.
That's right.
Body bags.
That's
And
right.
black students need black history.
Oh, yes.
Black students need black history. It may be that white students don't need black history. It may be that Asian students don't need black history.
Right.
But black students need black history because they need to be inspired by people that look just like them to know that they made it, therefore I can make it.
Right.
And they look just like me.
That's right. It is
Came from
important
where?
for them to know what
Yeah.
we did.
That's right.
Oh yeah, history
Mm-hmm.
is good for the self-esteem
Yeah.
and for the hope and for the vision.
And
That's
read.
right.
You got to read to your children too.
Mm-hmm.
You have to read to your children. Read a book, even if it's 2 or 3 times a week
Mm-hmm.
before they go to bed. Turn their cell phone off. Turn their video games off. And allow, because Dr. Umar Johnson said that a majority of the men that are incarcerated, black men especially, that are incarcerated in the United States, they're incarcerated at a 4th grade reading level.
Wow.
Wow,
That says
That's
a
terrible.
lot.
That's
Wow,
terrible.
wow,
You're
yeah.
right.
That says a lot. That means that, and if a majority of the black men are incarcerated, or they're the largest amount of incarcerated in the population of the prison system, that means that there's a lot of families that's not reading to their children.
That's right.
If
That's right.
children can't be 2 places at once, if they're with the parent, they can't be getting in trouble somewhere.
Right.
And Linda, I know you work with kids even at the kindergarten level.
Oh, for several years,
Yeah.
many years.
Yeah.
But it was like during that time we had the parents work with the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so sad that that's not the case now, because parents want to party. They want to do whatever they want to do. Their accountability. They want to play the music. Because you can't help but hear it on the street. Little children in the back seat, parents in the front seat, grown folks playing music with all the profanity and stuff that you shouldn't even want your child to even hear, to be able to copy.
That's right.
Yes.
That's quite common. But we got to make that uncommon.
That's right. I remember the year before last, during the pandemic, like right in the middle of the pandemic in 2020, I was sitting in a Kroger's parking lot on Hartley Bridge Road, and I saw a mom driving by with her. She looked like she had to be about 9 or 10 years old, and she was playing the popular song WAP from Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Now that's a very provocative, grown adult, illicit song.
Yeah.
But she was in the front seat rapping the lyrics with her mom.
Well, I see. I see
my
these.
gosh.
I guess TikTok videos or the different apps that they have now, where parent and child being there, and the music is just disgusting that they're dancing to.
But they're just rolling with
And sometimes they have the children rehearsing for Magic City auditions.
Yeah.
That's true.
In the movements and stuff like that. And it's like, wait now, if the child's depending on you to show them how to be a man or a woman, you're doing a poor job.
That's right. You
If
have
you-
to lead, like you
So
said,
you
Linda,
really
lead by
can't get on
example.
the child if they're imitating you.
Yeah, we have got to do better, because we can't control how the world treats us, but we can control how we treat us,
Sure can.
how we respect us. We have full
Right.
control. A lot of politicians don't want to lose votes, so they won't say the word black on black crime. A lot of ministers don't want to lose offerings or tithes.
No ties.
That's a different issue there.
That's a different issue.
So they won't talk about black on black crime or point people out that I don't want this money if it's dope money.
Right.
I don't. Oh no, you won't hear them say that.
Right.
If our preachers go to church this Sunday and say, I don't appreciate illegal money in this offering.
So
You challenge them
Challenge. Oh no. I can hear some profanity
right now.
Yeah.
then the pot will be $5 instead of $500.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because the thing is, so many people like, hey, I got to keep that money coming in,
That's it.
and I know the ones that are giving money the most. Not only do I want them to come here, I'm gonna put in them. They may be on the deacon board.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that they come here every Sunday, if nobody else.
But what I do challenge, and Linda, you and I talked about this earlier last week, is that churches should become educational grounds for
They need to.
parent classes.
They do. They really do. And I think that the city should fund these programs.
Yeah.
And I think there should be a program. It should be across the board program. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And a structured program. And it should be mandatory
Yeah.
that they attend.
And it will, Black Wall Street was founded on churches, the education. It wasn't until later that you saw black kids really being able to go to school.
Right.
And a lot of times when it first started, even I think in Bill County, it's like I think maybe once or twice a month. So education really did start for black kids in the church.
It did.
That's right.
So
It did.
they learned ethics and
Sunday
morals.
school, yes.
That was the community center right
Yep.
there. That's right. It sure was.
That's right.
Yeah,
we need to get back to doing that. We need
Absolutely.
we need it so bad. We need it so bad for the sake of our children.
And we need to bring prayer back in school.
And you know what? Now that is one thing that that was also revisited with a coach who felt as if his rights were being violated because he wanted to pray on the field. And so the Supreme Court justice found that he is within his rights to pray.
And that was proper. Let me say this: you can pray, and most all religions agree to the same substance of the Ten Commandments. You shouldn't kill each other.
Right.
You shouldn't steal. There's agreement.
Right.
So how can you be stepping on anybody's religion that believes in the same that you do? When you pray, protect us. Well, every religion say that. When you protect the children, how in the world then can you claim that prayer is specific to one religion? So we need prayer in school. Because when you pray, and I know this, came from schools that prayed. It's hard to pray and get in trouble before lunchtime, but after lunchtime, I can't tell you. I can't help you after that. But at least that carries. It's hard to hold grudges after you've just gave a prayer for each other.
That's right.
And let me ask you a question. So when you go to the state capitol, they invocate prayer. So why is it that on the state level in the educational system that they just leave it up to chance for the moment of silence, but they give no designated prayer, even if it's of another faith? You should be able to still pray. They do it at the state capitol.
Well, and what we pray for basically the same thing.
That's right.
Whoever we refer to as the God, higher power. You see, just like a parent. My son, if he says Pop, Dad, Roy, Leroy, it doesn't matter what he called me. I know who he's talking to.
Right.
God knows. No matter what name we call him, our Creator, He knows. A parent knows who the child is talking to.
That's right.
And the thing about it is, when we are both asking for the same thing, whether you're Muslim, whether you, no matter what your religion is, but you're asking for protection for your children, to take care of your children.
That's right.
How then can that be specific to one religion? So it should be allowed. Prayer should be allowed because there are many universal prayers.
Yes.
And so there should be no violation of any religious rights because America has become the place, just like a Baptist church. They had a preacher and a choir, and he preached here, but they started getting visitors from all over the world. Before you know it, the membership had doubled by most of the visitors, but the visitors came in and said, we want to change a few things.
Right.
We don't like those songs you're singing.
Right.
Before long they'll remove the pastor.
That's right.
But the thing about it is, America has to retain its values. You can be nice to everybody and let them come in your house, but you can't let them change your rules.
That's right.
I'm talking about common sense.
Yes.
Things that have worked for you. God has worked for Black America in bringing us through so much because enduring slavery and mistreatment, we should have all died out from stress.
That's right.
And heart attacks and strokes if nothing else. Eating the worst foods, the poor.
Right.
Yeah, but our faith unified us.
That's right. And so taking God away from us hurt a lot because God was all we had.
That's right.
God was all we had. So prayer should be returned to schools. I fought for that. And you Google my name and prayer, my fight to return a prayer to school, you'll see that, when prayer was present, we didn't have discipline problems in school. We had scholars.
Yes, we did.
We didn't have kids dropping out of school. We had perfect attendance.
Right.
Now, whether you want to argue or not, if you see something, and I'm speaking specifically to us, that is working for your kids, ain't hurting nobody, why would you take it from them?
Yeah.
Logically, who in their right mind would do that? You know,
But you got a lot of black people in our community that work against. They work internally against these positive.
They do.
They feel as if, oh well, you don't have a right to tell me and my child what to do, or you don't have it. It's like you want to become so liberated.
And then when their child gets in trouble,
and
it's a whole different tune than
right.
And that's just even with my articles and stuff, my arguments I've had. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Most of the black people tell me that you got to look out for the rights of everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them that prayer is mostly, even the Ten Commandments, universal. Every religion virtually have the Ten Commandments in some form.
Right.
That when I pray for protection of my child, that's not invading anybody's religious rights. When I pray for you for protection, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So there are universal prayers that, just like the Ten Commandments applies to every religion, everybody. Then, people are just being, to come and say, well, I don't think it should be in there. And I'm telling you, it's not going to violate anybody's religious rights when you're doing universal prayer. And you see our kids are dying.
Yeah.
And going to prison. And you're still looking like a fool.
But you know what's so funny? Not funny. What's so sad is that they don't make them pray when they're in the home, but when they are incarcerated, that's when a lot of young people find faith in.
They get a Bible.
They get their
They
Bible.
start reading the
pray
Bible for the
behind
first time.
bars.
Many times they are introduced to the Bible for the first time, really reading it when they go to jail.
When
They
go
don't
to
have.
jail.
They don't have a choice. They have nowhere else to go.
Absolutely.
And it's a shame because, see, for a lot of parents, in order for them to allow their children to learn about God, it would convict them because their children would see
There you go.
what my parent has been doing is all wrong according to God.
That's the problem.
That's it.
Because now I have to step up to the plate.
That's right,
right.
because that child know, you mean all these years, Mom, I'm 14 years old and you telling me you never told me that this was wrong, and this was wrong,
Right.
and this was sin, and here I am, I've engaged in it now,
Right.
and you never told me, and now, so what does a
You
child
can't
do?
judge me. I did the best I can. You can't
That's
judge
right.
me.
That's right.
So what
You know,
happens,
that's-
what happens
that's
when
the
a
conversation.
child is 16, 17, 18, and engaged in all type of activity because mom and daddy encouraged them or
Right.
allowed it, and they come to know God for the first time.
Right.
And they believe in God. And they'll tell you, how do they feel when you've already done all these wrong things because mom and daddy allowed you to do it?
Yeah.
And then the parents are also accountable to God then.
And that's what it keeps going back to. It's the parents. We got to hold our village. We have got to hold our parents accountable moving forward. There's no more excuses.
The child may be punished, but the parent is going to be accountable.
They need
Yes.
to be accountable.
And we older and wiser that are in the community, we're going to have to really, I'm not saying put yourself in harm's way, but I am going to say this. If you see that there's a safe opportunity for you to volunteer or to do a little bit more in your church or to create a program or to donate, financially to someone else who's trying to do something for the community. You step up and help a parent, support programs that support especially black families, because that is where the crime is really happening right now in America.
And let me say this too. For all, I want to say pretty much all about black existence in America, all the way up to maybe somewhere in the 80s, maybe the 90s, black parents didn't walk around their children showing their butt, their behinds,
Oh no.
half naked.
No, they
and
didn't.
cussing,
No, they didn't.
profanity.
Absolutely
That
not.
I mean, all throughout history of
No.
us coming here, that respect remained. But now you see parents walking around.
Yeah.
I mean, common sense should say you have got to draw the line between parent and child.
You have
A
to
child
set an
should not
example.
see your butt. In some
No.
cases, rusted butt. I don't
Yeah.
want to
Well,
talk on
ashy.
that.
Mom
Ashy.
We'll say ashy.
Remember, it used to be the man sagging the pants, but now it's the woman. You can see her top of her underwear.
And you know, and the thing about it is, this generation is one, in my opinion, and I'm sorry to say this, I can understand why God reduced the age of this life expectancy of people. Because had he given us all those years to live, we all go to hell. Because it seems
Yeah.
like, well, can some of you just survive to make it to heaven if you live 200 years? No, that didn't work. How about 150 years? No, that didn't work. How about 100 years? And it seems like in order to try to get some good people that will at least die and go before judgment to go to heaven, you got to keep dropping the age limit.
That's sad. Yeah.
You know, and it seems as though a bad crop, we have a bad crop that is grown, but because nothing lives forever, we'll have a new crop growing.
Yeah.
And the hope is in that new crop because really some people don't care. They're going to still walk around and show everything that the law won't lock them up for.
That's true.
Children or not.
Yeah.
That's true.
They don't. They'll get butt naked if they could on the internet. They don't care about their children, friends, parents seeing them,
Oh, no.
or their children, classmates seeing them. They
Because
just
there's a
don't
void
care.
there. There's a void there. There's a lot of, especially a lot of young women. Well, yeah, a lot of young women who are mothers had to deal with a lot of low self-esteem issues, but they became mothers.
That's right.
That's right.
They were young women without children, and then they had to become mothers, but that low self-esteem never went anywhere. And so they continue to fight that low self-esteem by creating these accounts online, doing illicit, explicit activities,
Yeah.
knowing good and well that your child also has an account on the same social media platform. But it's like, it doesn't, that mental health there, it's an illness.
A dad says, I want my son to grow up to be Barack Obama or something, but the son looking at his dad with his pants hanging down showing his crack.
Right.
And he talking about he want his son to be Barack Obama. Well, he better not look at dad.
We appreciate you, Dad, for being there, but we just need you to step it up a little bit.
Because the example that you lead, your child is going to copy.
That's right.
You know, if you start him on a path in the woods, the
Right.
child is going to follow you even if it's leading towards disaster.
Right.
That's right.
So it's a good thing to try to set a good example and say, child, you know, I want the best for you. I don't want to
Because
see
that
you in
gives
prison.
them that prepares them so when they leave out of your environment and they go into another environment, they'll have a better success rate of succeeding. Because we can't think that it's okay just because it's in our environment, our pants are sagging or things that are indicative to maybe
Yeah.
the things that we do culturally in our neighborhoods. It might not be accepted in other platforms. You see what I'm saying? Like business arenas and things like that. You can't go into a corporate office with your pants sagging
No,
and thinking
you
that
can't.
you're going to look for a promotion. It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
But if you prepare your child early on to say, well, son, this is a time and a place for everything.
Oh, yeah.
And this is not the place or this is not the time.
Well, let me ask you something. What do you think about the same people, if they owned a business, if they came across, won the lottery or something else, had a business on the mall, do you think they would want, now they've done this, you think they would want their employee to come down with their pants hanging down and smelling like marijuana?
No.
No.
You know, when you really think about things, you know, God entrusted with us one of the most valuable things that he had, you know, and that was he allowed us to raise his children, you know. You know, our children comes through us, not to us. And we're responsible for raising them in the way God wants us to raise them. So he appointed us as their parents, you know, to raise them.
And to be good parents.
And to be good parents. And parents, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I don't know how they can go before God and ask God for a car. You know, the big house and all of this other stuff.
When your child look at when a child look at a parent and you be wondering what did you teach your child today? You hope you taught that child something, or most things that's going to help them in life, help them to be respected, be trusted, to have pride and respect amongst other kids growing up, and you know, but the older people used to say, if I can't tell you something to help you, I definitely won't tell nothing to teach you anything to hurt you.
Yeah, they sure did.
Well, it was a good discussion,
It was.
and I'll
This is
tell
part 1. We'll pick up another part 2.
Yes, we will.
This is ongoing.
That's
It
right.
is.
Yeah,
Because the issues are ongoing.
absolutely.
Well, I'm Attorney Roy Miller, and you've been listening to Pillow Politics. Until next time.
Good night, good people. I'm Linda Miller saying good night.
Yes, I'm Stacy Jenkins. Don't forget to like and subscribe here at the YouTube and Facebook, and email us at pillowpolitics@gmail.com. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.